So this is the part 4 of the oxidation and reduction class. So we want to talk about the balancing of redox equation, and we balance redox equation in acidic and basic medium. The difference is just that we are going to be adding water and hydrogen ion here, and we are going to be adding OH minus and water here. So let's see balancing of redox equation. So these are the questions we're going to solve on redox equation, but there are some rules you need to follow when you are balancing redox equation. So let's identify with the first one. I'm going to be taking examples alongside so that you understand it better. So the first rule is that you have to identify which one is undergoing reduction, which one is undergoing oxidation. So identify redox. That means that when you take your equation, you look at it, which one is undergoing. I told you from the previous classes that your answer is never here. Anytime they ask you that which of the following species is undergoing reduction, which of them is undergoing oxidation. So if you look at this now, which one is undergoing reduction, which one is undergoing oxidation. So let's deal with the first one, and we want to balance it in acidic medium. I'll do example of basic medium. I'll do one example, you will do the second one. I'll do one example, you do the second one. So let's go on. Take your time to understand this because we will meet them when we start solving past questions. So now, Fe2 plus, we're going from Fe2 plus to Fe3 plus. So if you go from plus 2 to plus 3, that's an increase in oxidation number. That means that this ion is undergoing oxidation. If you look at this place, from the calculations I taught you in the previous classes, manganese is plus 7 here, but it is plus 2 here. So this one is going from plus 7 to plus 2. That is reduction. That means this one is undergoing reduction. So that is the first thing. So this is oxidation, this is reduction. So you identify first. Rule 2, you will split them into two halves. Split into two halves equation. So that's what we're going to do next. So we want to split the reaction into two halves. So now, how do we split it into two halves? You take the one that is undergoing oxidation, you write it out. That's Fe2 plus to give Fe3 plus. That's one. Then the second one, split it. Then that will be MnO4 minus to Mn2 plus. Make sure you pay attention. You are going to do the next one yourself. So this one is called oxidation half. This one is called reduction half. So you split the equation into two. So the oxidation half, that is from Fe2 plus to Fe3 plus. The reduction half, that is for MnO4 to Mn2 plus. That's the thing. So the next thing is you balance the atoms. That's the next rule. Balance atoms aside oxygen. So balance atoms. So now we want to balance atoms without balancing oxygen. And I think from this example I am doing, I only have one ion here. In your own, there's two chromium here, there's one chromium here. So you might have to add two here when you are balancing the atoms in the next step. But for my own, there's one ion here, there's one ion here. So there's no need to balance anything. There's one manganese here, there's one manganese here. Don't balance oxygen. When you are balancing atoms, just balance the atoms first without the oxygen. So from what I have in this case now, I manganese is one, manganese is one, iron is one, iron is one. Do you understand that? So there is nothing to balance. Then the next one, balance oxygen. So now you will balance oxygen. That is the next step. Now, for you to balance oxygen, it now depends on if it is acidic medium or if it is basic medium. If it is acidic medium, I told you what do you add. We are going to add hydrogen ion and water. If the question is acidic medium, the one we are dealing with is acidic medium. So in order to balance our oxygen here, there is no oxygen here, but in order to balance this oxygen here, we will add hydrogen ion and water. And in the other case, if it is basic medium, you will add hydroxyl ion and water. So now note something. When you are balancing in acidic medium, you will always add the water to the side with minimum oxygen. Note that. Add water to the side with minimum oxygen. When you are balancing in alkaline medium or basic medium, you are adding water to the side with maximum oxygen. So if I want to balance this one now, there is no oxygen here, so I can just write this one out. So this is MnO4 minus to give me Mn2 plus. So now I want to balance oxygen. I'm going to add water and H plus. Now, which side am I going to add the water? Since it is acidic medium, so I'm going to add the water to the right side. You know, there's oxygen here, there is no oxygen here. So I will add the water to where there is no oxygen, or where there is minimum oxygen. And I will add hydrogen to the other side. So that is the thing. You add hydrogen here, you add water here. So now from what we have here, there are 4 oxygen here, but there are just there's just one oxygen here. So I can put 4 here. I hope you're following. So 4 oxygen, 4 oxygen now is balanced. But that has changed the number of hydrogen. So how many hydrogen do I have here now? 2 times 4, that's 8. Then you put it here, then that's 8. So if you check the atoms now, they balanced. So this is 8 hydrogen, this is 8 hydrogen. 1 manganese, 1 manganese, 4 oxygen, 4 oxygen. So that is balanced. So that's the next step. So the next step is now to balance charges. So the first step is identify the one undergoing redox, split them into two halves equation, the one undergoing oxidation reduction, balance the atoms aside oxygen. Then next step, balance oxygen. You balance oxygen by adding hydrogen ion and water. Then you balance this one. So that's just the only difference. So if you are asked to balance in acidic medium or in basic medium, it is the same thing. The only difference is just where you are adding water and hydrogen ion or hydroxyl ion. So in basic medium, you add hydroxyl ion and water. In acidic medium, you add water and hydrogen ion. Is that clear? So for number 5 now, the rule is that you now balance charges. So let's balance charges. That's for number 5. So we want to balance charges. Now, in order to balance charges, you look at this first equation. Let's call this equation 1. Now, this one has changed from year to year. So let me just call this equation 3. So now, to balance the charges, I'll look at equation 1. There's +2 here, there's +3 here. I want to make sure that the number of charges on this side is the same as the number of charges on this side. Do you get that? So now this is +2, this is +3. I need to add 1 electron. If I add electron here, look at why I'm adding it here. You know, electron is negative. So if I say -1 plus 3, what would that be? +2. That means there will be +2 here and there will be +2 here. Do you understand that? So there's +2 here and there's +2 here. So that helps me to balance electron. So I balance charges in the first equation. So let's balance charges in the second equation. Look at this. 8 plus, that's 8 times +1, that's +8. That means here is +8 minus 1. +8 minus 1, you multiply whatever value you have at the front with the charge 2, because this is more like saying you have 8 hydrogen ion. Like if you write it 8 times, so that means you have that +8 times. Do you get that? So +8 now minus 1, that means what? That's +7. So what you have here is +7, and what you have here must balance what you have here. So if this place is +7, what would this place be? So this place has to also be +7, but now you only have +2. So if this side is +2, this side must also be +2. So what can we do to make this side +2? We can add 5 electrons. So with this equation now, I can add 5 electrons. Do you get that? So now let's look at it all together. This is +8 minus 1, that's +7, minus 5, that's +2. You know, this is like 5 times -1, so that's -5. So this, on this side now I have +2, on this side I also have what? +2. Do you get that? So I balance the charges. So the next one, I'm not done balancing the charges. You now want to make sure that after you have done that, you want to make sure that the number of electron here, that means the number of electron loss, is equal to the number of electron gain, and that's why we call it redox. So now the number of electron here, you want it to balance the number of electron here. So what do? You will multiply this equation by 5 and you multiply this one by 1. Do you get that? You know, we want this electron to balance this electron, so I'm going to multiply this by 5. So multiplying this by 5, I'm going to have 5Fe2 plus to give 5 times this now be 5Fe3 plus 5 electrons. Do you get that? So now multiplying it by 5, I already have new equation now with this. Now this electron, these electrons are now balanced. The number of electron in this equation balance the number of electron here. So I don't have to rewrite this one again. It's the same thing. Or better still, let me just write it out. So 1 times that will still give us that. Then I'm still going to have MnO4 minus plus 5 electrons, then to give me Mn2 plus 4H2O. So now that I have this equation now, and I want to add them up together, that's the next thing. So after you balance the charges, then add up. So you will add the reaction up. So I'm going to add this equation with this equation. Everything on the reactant side, add them together. Then everything on the product side, add them together. So let's try it. So now for the product side, I'm going to now have 5Fe2 plus. So I'm going to have 5Fe2 plus. Then, here now I have 5Fe2 plus. So I want to write the ones I have here too now. So that would be plus 8H plus MnO4 minus MnO4 minus plus 5 electrons to give. So what I've written here is 5Fe2 plus 8H plus MnO4 minus and this. So now those are the ones on this side. That's 5Fe2 plus 8H plus MnO4 minus Schlegel. So we'll now write the ones on the product side too on this side. So let's write that out. So I'm going to have 5Fe3 plus that's 5 electrons plus 5 electrons plus Mn2 plus 4H2O plus Mn2 plus 4H2O. So this is the overall equation now. So what you are now going to do is that you will cancel out the repeating units and now check something. So rule number 6 now. So rule 6, cancel out repeating units. Cancel out repeating units. So those ones you are seeing again on both sides, that's what we mean. So you cancel them out. So here now, this is Fe2 plus, this is Fe3 plus, so it's not repeating. This is a H plus, there is no H plus. If there's H plus here, you cancel some parts. Then here, look at this now, there are 5 electrons here, and there are also 5 electrons here. So that's all. There's nothing repeating again. So you now check. You now want to check if it is balanced. So your equation will be balanced if the charges and atoms are balanced. That is the thing. So finally, you want to know if you are correct. You will check if the charges and atoms are balanced. So let's check. So what are the charges here? 5 times plus 2, that would be what? Plus 10. 8 times plus 1, that would be plus 8 minus 1. Then that's all. Plus 10 plus 8, that's 18 minus 1. So everything here is plus 17. On the right side, 5 times plus 3, that's plus 15. Then plus 2, so everything here is going to be what? Plus 17. So at the end of the day, on the right side, you have plus 17, and on the left side, you also have plus 17. So that's what we have. So the charges are balanced. Then that means you are correct. Then let's check the atoms. How many atoms do we have on the left? There are 5 iron here. There are 5 iron here. There are 8 hydrogen here. There are 8 hydrogen here. There is 1 manganese here. There's 1 manganese here. And there are 4 oxygen here. There are 4 oxygen here. So that means that the atoms too are balanced. So when you check that the atoms and charges are balanced, then what you have done is correct. So that is how to balance in acidic medium. So you are going to do this as your own assignment. So do this. If your charges and atoms did not balance at the end of the day, then that means you have done something wrong. So you try it again. If you try it and you still did not get it, let me know in the comment section. I'm going to solve it for you. Then let's go for the basic medium quickly. So in order to balance in basic medium, so let's check it out. So let me pick one of the examples. So that's I minus plus MnO4 minus plus MnO4 minus to give IO3 minus plus MnO2 plus MnO2. So now we have to balance this one in basic medium. So the first thing I said is identify the redox. Which one is undergoing oxidation? Which one is undergoing reduction? So if you look at what we have here, this is actually plus 7 here. This is minus 1 if you look at it. So what will it be here now? So this is going to be like plus 5. So if you go from minus 1 to plus 5, you can calculate it. We did it in the previous class on how to calculate it. This guy can have variable oxidation state. These guys can have variable oxidation state. So you can calculate it. Let me quickly do for IO3 minus so that you know how I got that. That would be x plus 3 into minus 2 equals minus 1. So x minus 6 is equal to minus 1. So x is equal to minus 1 plus 6. So x is equal to plus 5. So shall you get, I've done this in the previous classes and we have a lot to do now. So that's plus 5. That's how I got this one to be plus 5. So it's going from minus 1 to plus 5. What do you think that is? Oxidation. Obviously, this would have been reduction. So without wasting time, you can calculate for this here to calculate for this here too, and see that the oxidation state would have reduced. So that's the first rule. So the first step says that identify redox. We have done that. Split them into two halves. So let's split them into two halves. So we will give the one that is for oxidation. So that means I minus to give IO3 minus. That is oxidation half. Do you get that? Then for reduction half, that's MnO4 minus to give MnO2. That is reduction half. So that's rule number 2. So you split them into two half equations. Then the next rule says you should balance atoms. So balance atoms. So how do we balance atoms? You look at it. I told you are balancing atoms without balancing oxygen. First, forget about oxygen. So how many iodine do I have here? 1. How many do I have here? 1. Forget about oxygen. How many manganese do I have here? 1. Manganese here. So atoms are balanced. So we'll move to the next one. In the next one now, we want to balance oxygen. So to balance oxygen, this is the only place it used to differ. So if it is in basic medium, we use this. If it is in acidic medium, we use this. So let's use this now. And I said that you always add water to the side with minimum oxygen. If acid medium, then you add water to the side with maximum oxygen if basic medium. So let's do that here. So there's oxygen here. I'm going to add water and OH minus. Which side do you think I should add water here now? This side has maximum oxygen, so I'm going to add water here. For this one, which side should I add water? Very good. There are 4 oxygen here, there's 2 here, so I'm going to add water here. So let's write that out. So I'm going to have I minus to give IO3 minus plus water. In addition, now I will add OH minus. Do you get that? So you add water to one side, you add OH minus to the other side. That is how we balance it. So now, to balance this out, if I put 2 here, that means hydrogen becomes 4. If I put 2 here, oxygen will not be balanced. If I put 3 here, hydrogen becomes 6. I think that would be better. If I put 3 here, and I put 6 here, what do you think? So this is 2 times 3, that's 6. So hydrogen is balanced, 6 hydrogen, 3 oxygen here, 3 oxygen here, that's balanced. Do you get that? So that's how you balance oxygen. Can you pause the video and do for the next one? Balance the water and hydroxyl of this other one, and let me see. So in that case now, I'm going to have MnO4 minus plus, I will add water. Then I will add OH minus to the side with minimum oxygen. So OH minus. So now let's balance it. There are 4 oxygen here, 5 oxygen. Here there are 2, 1. So it's not balanced. So if I put 2 here, hydrogen becomes 4. If I put 4 here, I think that will make it all right. So if I put 2 here and I put 4 here, is that okay? That means oxygen becomes 6 on this side. Hydrogen is 4. Oxygen is also 6 on this side. Do you understand that now? Bless me. So the oxygen I have here is 6, oxygen I have here is 6. So that's okay. So these are our new equations now. So when we are done balancing oxygen, what's the next thing we'll do? We'll balance charges. That's the next step. So let's balance charges. So look at the first equation. This is I minus, this is COH minus. That means this is minus 1. 6 times minus 1, that's minus 6. Minus 1 minus 6, that is minus 7. So on the left hand side there it is minus 7. Let's look at this one. This is just minus 1. So if this is minus 1, we need to add the electron. Minus 7 here, minus 1 here. That means for this we need to add 6 electrons. Do you understand that? So that would mean that 6 times minus 1 minus 6 minus 1, that's minus 7. Then minus 1 minus 6, that's minus 7 too. Do you get that? So the next one, let's balance this one. This one is going to be minus 1, then on this side it is minus 4. That means that minus 4, so I have to add 3 electrons here now. Try to understand those steps. So minus 1 minus 3, that becomes what? Minus 4. Then here is also what? Minus 4. Do you get that point? So I balance the electron. Then what did we do the last time? So we tried to balance the charges completely. So we now say that if there are 6 electrons here and there are 3 electrons here, we must do it in such a way that those electrons must be equal. So how do we do it? So we multiply this one by let's say 1, then we'll multiply this one by 2. Do you get that? So at the end of the day, let me just write this part, because 1 times this will still give us the same thing. So let's leave that one the way it is. Do you get that? So let's multiply this. So 2 times this will give me 6 electrons plus 2 MnO4 minus plus 4H2O to give 2 MnO2 plus 8OH minus. So that's what I've had there now. So multiplying this through by 2, this is what I eventually have. So now I have the same number of electrons. So we can now add them up together, then we cancel out the repeating units. So let's add this equation and this equation together now. Do you get that? So what's on the left hand side? That is I minus plus 6OH minus, then plus all the ones on this side. That's 6 electrons plus 2 MnO4 minus plus 4H2O. So I'm adding everything on the reactant side here and everything on the reactant side here. She get that's the whole thing here. Then carefully follow this through so that you will understand it. It's not so hard. Just follow the rules. It's very simple. Then for this part too now, so that will be IO3 minus plus 3H2O plus 6 electron plus 2 MnO2 plus 8OH minus. I hope you can see that. 8OH minus. So I've added what I have on this side now, product side to the product side here. So now that I've added it all together, so what can I do now? I have to cancel out the repeating units. Then I'll now check if the charges and atoms are balanced. So let's do that. So I minus IO3 is not repeating. 6OH minus, and there are 8OH minus here. So that means 6 out of this will cancel 6 out of this. This will remain 2. Do you get that? Out of the 8 now, 6 on the left, 8 on the right. So the 6 will go, then it remains 2. Can we go on? So 6 electron here, we also cancel out 6 electrons here. Then 2 MnO4 remains the same. There are 4 water here and there is 3 water here. So 3 of this water will go, then 3 of this will go, will be left with just 1 water. So let's write the remaining parts out. So at the end of the day, I'm going to have I minus plus, I've cancelled out this, then plus 2 MnO4 minus plus, I cancelled out 3 water here, so I only have 1 water left. Then to give IO3 minus plus, I've cancelled out the water, I've cancelled out the electron, plus 2 MnO2 plus, I have 2 of this left, so 2OH minus. So this is the final overall equation. So now let's check this overall equation if the atoms and the charges are actually balanced. So here now, let's check the atoms first. There's 1 iodine here. How many iodine do I have here? Also 1. Then there are 2 manganese here. There are also 2 manganese here. There are 4 times 2 oxygen, that's what? 8 plus 1, that's 9. Then 3 oxygen here, 2 times 2, that's 4. 4 plus 3, that's 7 plus 2, that's 9. Can you see the oxygen has balanced? 2 hydrogen, 2 hydrogen. So everything is balanced, all the atoms are balanced. So let's check the charges. So this is -1, 2 times minus, that's -2. Then on this side I have -1, 2 times minus, -2. So -1 -2, that's -3, -1 -2, that's -3. So the charges are balanced, the atoms are also balanced. Then that means what we have done is correct. So this is the overall equation now. We might be using this one to solve some stoichiometry problems, and in your jam they will just give you the equation and ask you to tell what value is here, what value is here, and all of the things like that. So do these two as your own assignments. For the first one, you balance in acidic medium. For the second one, you balance in basic medium. So if you solve and you didn't get the answer, you should let me know. I'll do the corrections and I will upload it for you. So don't forget. So this is still Primer's Privacity. I am Dr. Sodium. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. It won't cost you anything. Please subscribe so you help us to promote the channel, and you also pass this information across to every other person that it will be useful to. And as much as possible, we'll be teaching you every topics from your 100 level as well. If you're studying medicine or you're going through, so we'll teach you anatomy, physiology, all of the necessary things you need to know. So don't forget to subscribe so that you get updates on the things we will be doing for you. So thank you. God bless you.